How true rockhounds comb the Oregon beaches for agates and other treasures. You're going to really love this if you're on the video because I've got some pictures at the bottom here of these Oregon coast gemstones that just light up in the sun so beautifully. Oregon coast is a beautiful place. You might think, going to the beach, let's get some seashells, but Laura Joki, if that's pronounced right, Joki. Maybe the J is silence. Maybe it's like an H. Not sure. But she's been a rockhound forever, and she does these free trips to the beach. And the state law there says you can get about 1 gallon per day per person, up to 3 gallons a day of gemstones. And agates are the regional beautiful stone there. Some of them have some real beautiful patterns. There's also banded and jasper that you can find there. There's blue and black agates, white, angular, reddish, carnelian agate. This is mostly what seems to be found in some of the pictures that I'm going to show you here in just a minute. But certain times of year when you want to go there, when waves are a little bit rough, once they found a saginite, and she was told Tiffany Jewelers would go look for stones here. And one agate had a beautiful pattern with captured crystals that sold. It was about 3 to 5 pounds and fetched $5,000 because back in those days there wasn't synthetic gemstones. And she's quoting a book called The Quartz Family Minerals by A.C. Drake, published in 1938. One of the finest saginite specimens ever found in Western America was a water-worn boulder about 4 inches in diameter near the beach of Yachats, Oregon. That's Y-A-C-H-A-T-S. I believe it's pronounced Yachats. But anyway, she loves going there. She likes to go in the season where the beaches are kind of balmy, and February is one good time that they were there. So storms stir up the rocks and stuff and bring them up. There's a lot of smaller ones that you'll find that probably are not really worth collecting. You'll be looking for the bigger ones, and you will see these beautiful stones. When she takes people on these trips, they come back very happy. Usually their pockets are filled. One person here returned from their trip here and had many keepables and agates, jaspers. David Smith said, I found a piece of petrified wood, and another member found agate that was in the form of a limb cast. That's when a tree becomes petrified, the agate mineral takes over and it becomes a limb cast. And here's the pictures I promised you right here. These are mostly carnelian, but it looks like a little bit of black agate there. Not a great picture of it. And some white jasperish agate over there. But most of these are looking like carnelians. She's got one real bright, couple real more orange ones toward the back of her hand. Beautiful specimens. She gives you tips for finding this. Once they found a bloodstone even with red and green. So you just never know. Of course, there's always beach glass and stuff like that. So that would be a good find. But yeah, these are treasures. It's the it's called the Tseradian State Recreation Site. It's spelled T-S-E-R-I-A-D-U-N, Radian, Tessaradium Park. The site is also known as Agate Beach, located in Port Orford. And that sounds just like it's spelled, O-R-F-O-R-D, Port Orford. So check that out. You're going to want to look at the water tables, which you can get online. You check the tide tables. You're going to want to go during low tide. And, make sure to have someone kind of watch your back. Those rogue waves can really hurt people. I had a friend got his neck broken. Another lady got damaged really badly. This happens all over the world. Rogue waves will pop out that you just don't expect. They can be extremely large and just overtake you while you're looking at the ground and not paying attention to the waves coming in. So look out for each other. Keep your eyes open. You're going to look to the ground. If you walk into the sun, you're going to see the rocks kind of glow. and you'll see these orbs. Some of them will look kind of small, but dig them up anyway. Maybe bring a scoop or something like that you can scoop them up. And don't disturb any of the ocean creatures, and pick up an extra piece of trash on your way out, and you will be a rock hounding hero in my eyes, because you will help leave a good reputation for us rockhounds. All right, so Pyrite, Marcasite 101, Rock and Gem, our friends at Rock and Gem, send me emails. You can get emails too for free. They will send you this information. But for goodness sakes, get their magazine. You would think, let me grab this. You would think I'm a fanboy, or that I'm getting paid for this. But there it is. I mean, I look so forward to getting my Rock and Gem magazine. They've kind of changed the format a little bit, so there's a little bit of, evolution and more on dinosaurs and, social type stuff, but it's still good. They still have a lot of, great stuff like the Morgan Hill Poppy Jasper, great article on that. They always have all the show dates are in there. This is a great magazine. If you're a true rock hound, you got to subscribe to that. So there's a free shout out for them, because I like to keep rock hounding alive, and, join a local club and all that. But anyway, so you go here and you find out about this beautiful stone. You can see it here. It has got this cubic pyrite crystals in dolomite. I think I said galena and calcite. So I did a another podcast or whatever, and was talking about galena. So I think that's why I got mixed up. But it is a beautiful crystal formation. As you can see, these cubes here, of course, this is quite larger than it really would. That piece is probably only an inch in size, maybe, or that section of it. So pyrite and marcasite are beautiful minerals that have a lot of similarities, and this is called a polymorph. Both have the same chemical composition, but they crystallize into different crystal systems. So a polymorph could be like a calcite and a aragonite, or diamonds and graphite. So that's kind of neat. So you have it in its two different states there. So pyrite, marcasite are also iron sulfite materials. By the way, pyrite that has sulfites in it, which all of it does, can have gold in it as well, up to 30%, according to some publications that I've read from where they've broken it down and done the actual assay of it. So these crystallize into these beautiful cubes, typically when you're talking about pyrite. Also, the dolomite is doing the same thing in this case. Sometimes it can form the needle type, or like a coxcomb or spear-shaped crystals. Dolomite can form in different shapes depending on how it is. You use a streak test for pyrite and marcasite. That's going to be dark gray to black streaks, and they're going to be about 6 to 6.5 on the Mohs scale, which is not as hard as quartz, which is about a 7, but is definitely harder than a real copper penny, which is pre-1982 if you're in the United States. 82 was the year they made pennies, some in copper and some in zinc. So those are kind of hard to tell apart if you're not an expert. So go with an 81 or a prior penny. Keep that in your collection so that you can do your hardness test out there in the field, because you are a rockhound. You're not a slacker. You know what you're talking about. You're learning more and more every day. Pyrite and marcasite have a metallic luster. They are often mistaken for one another, but pyrite has a distinct brassy to gold color, sometimes mistaken for gold, called fool's gold. Marcasite is a paler yellow to silver, oxidizes readily to red, black, or brown. As they oxidize, both pyrite and marcasite will or may exhibit an iridescent hue to them. Where do you find it? Well, pyrite is all over the place. Sedimentary, metamorphic, igneous rocks. If you don't know what those are, sedimentary is when it breaks down to like sand and stuff like that, and then they get re-glued together. Metamorphic is a rock that changes through heat, pressure, and temperature. And igneous is like hot, comes out of volcanoes and stuff like that. So It's also associated with other minerals like quartz, calcite, and fluorite. Pyrite is found in hydrothermal vents. If you don't know what those are, that's typically cracks in the earth, and then this superheated steam with minerals. It's the hydrothermal water, basically, and heat that goes up through there, and then as it cools, it forms these quartz crystals, and other minerals are in there as well, gold and other minerals. So pretty cool. A lot of deposits of these minerals that we're talking about today in Spain, Peru, and the United States, also South America, I might add. Marcasite is typically found in sedimentary rocks, often associated with organic matter such as coal. It is also found in hydrothermal vents. Unlike pyrite, marcasite is not as common and found in limited locations in the world, including France, Germany, and good old United States of America. It is, look at this little coxcomb crystal if you have the video. Really cool. That is your marcasite crystal. Very gold, that one. It almost looks like that byzantite without all the fluorescent added colors, the rainbow fluorescent colors. Very pretty. Pyrite is a source of sulfur dioxide. The production of sulfuric acid and paper production can be used as a replacement mineral as a production of lithium batteries called fool's gold batteries. Marcasite's used in jewelry, ornamental objects because of its metallic luster, unique crystals, and it can, both of these rather, can be prone to decay over time. They can chip and crack, especially if they are exposed to moisture. Of course, there's those who believe in the, metaphysic purposes of, or properties rather, of these minerals. Pyrite is thought to enhance willpower, motivation, assertiveness. Marcasite is said to promote a sense of stability, balance, and promote emotional healing. So there you go. If you're going nuts, you need rocks. That's basically, I could agree with that. All right, so we already talked about Oregon. Now, how would you like to have a rock named after you? Isn't this cool? The Vallejo, I believe that's how that's pronounced. Jim Show is spoken of here in the Daily Republic. This lady here found some rocks in an old sandstone area. She lives in Avila Beach on the Central Coast where she was living at the time. There was a big quarry, and she just started digging around. And she found, her name is the name of the rock is called DeeDeeite. DeeDeeite. She found it in 2004. It's a mix of agate, marcasite, sandstone, shale, crushed opal, and it also fluorescence. There she is. You think she'd be happier for the picture. She's, I guess they caught her with a kind of a downward smile, but she should be happy. But there she is holding up one of the pieces of DeeDeeite found in the 58th Annual Viejo Gem and Mineral Show. It's shown there. She's got a picture of it. And apparently, if you hold it at an angle, it can be even more striking. You get a fluorescent glow when you put it in a fluorescent light. And here's some that's polished. Looks quite nice as a sphere here. It's kind of a honey colored. Looks like it is a brachiated bunch of minerals that are patched together and cemented together through this what looks to be probably some sort of a marble. So yeah, she's 80 years old, and wow, good for her for finding that. And I guess you could go there and dig it. I don't know. I mean, you got to make sure it's okay, but they have their shows at the Solano County Fairgrounds every year. And you can go see them at vjgems.com. vjgems.com. All right, so there's a plug for them. I don't know anything about them. Our friends at the Searchers in Anaheim, they have a news group. You can join their club, and you'll get the monthly meetings and reports and all that. They have a great speaker coming in March. His name's Walt Lombardo. He's going to talk about the Virginia Valley Opal precious gemstones. This guy's got 35 years experience. He's been in the Motherlode area. He's associated with different mines in Death Valley, and he can tell you all sorts of stuff about these different projects, about uranium, galenium, geranium, and he's also the owner of the Nevada Mineral and Book Company. So he's a real educator, and if you're in that area, go listen to the guy. Now, their upcoming field trip is the Stoddard Wells Tailgate Show. This is in California, in the high desert, Mojave Desert city of Barstow, out towards Stoddard Wells. It's not in the city, it's out in the hills. There's actually some digs up there if you want to dig. There's black jade up on top. It's not a true jade, it's like a nephrite jade. It's on the top of Stoddard Wells there. Go see if somebody does a trip up there. That's a good one. Also, the green Verde antique marble, which makes wonderful gemstones, bookends, anything you can make with, and there's a lot of it up there. If you can get someone to take you up there and find that. The surrounding hills have different colors of marble. I don't know if they're open to collecting, but there's been pink, green, yellow, even a blue, which was really soft, but we did find some blue marble up there. A friend of mine named Tony was the one that found that. Then if you want to go in May 18th and 19th, they're going to Calenga. This is in California. These are all California, for Clear Creek Plasma Agate. Really cool. They're going to have their show in Ventura if you want to go to the CFMS, AFMS show. And then Copper World. Wow, I've got a lot of really great Copper World. Chrysocolla, azurite, malachite. The bluebird chrysocolla can be found there if you are patient. You will get a good amount of chrysocolla in that area. Some is rough and a little bit porous, so you might want to take your pocket knife and scratch because some of it is harder than others. So high grade your bucket as you go, because the real hard stuff is harder to find, but it is worth sorting through and spending half a day there. So they've got their directions there, how you can get there. They had a trip in out here in the Caddy Mountains, and they did really good. They were just east of Lovick and Ludlow. Plentiful agates and jaspers. In fact, there's some pictures here. I'll blow them up for my folks that are on the video. I mean, these are, hopefully I can blow this up. Maybe not. I guess not. The other thing I could do, I don't want to mess up the rest of the pages, but anyway, this is a brachiated piece right here in the middle, and this is a tricolored. I don't know if that's a moss. Here's some layered. That gold is like almost like a tiger's eye. I have seen pieces of that. I have pieces of that. In fact, if you go back and look at my video on Lovick and the Caddy Mountains, I go back and we look at the pieces I have and spray them with water so you can kind of see how they would be if they were polished. And they are amazing, amazing. So there's the show. You want to go to the Searchers Gem and Mineral Society, free admission and parking. How can you beat that? Look these guys up. Look them up. Look them up. Searchers. They're in Anaheim, California, and they have they're a gem mineral society. So check them out. Support them. All right, Greenwater, California. This was a very, very huge mining hopeful. You can see the little city there and the structures. Actually, a lot of those are actually tents, and we will talk about those. I hope you enjoy knowing about a ghost town. The elevation is about 4,200 feet. Was settled in about 1906, almost 120 years ago. Now there's nobody out there but scorpions, rattlesnakes, pack rats, things like that. The mining camp of Greenwater was settled after discoveries of this copper ore. This Greenwater Spring was in the California Death Valley region. You could just imagine how hot it was there. Um, you know, who knows what the heck it looked like. Some of the earlier camps that were in the area was Ramsey and Coons, which Coons was one of the guys that used to go out and look for gemstones for the Tiffany mining, for the Tiffany company. They make the beautiful lamps and jewelry for rich people primarily. Early American history in the 1900s and prior, they were the thing to have, the brand name that people would go crazy for and pay a lot of money for. They were the Beanie Babies, the whatever it is, people go crazy over. So they knew about these copper wars as early as the 1880s, but you can imagine Death Valley. I mean, this is a horrible, horrible place to try to survive without modern conveniences. You could literally die out there in no time without water. So it wasn't easy to settle this, but they knew that if they could settle this area, and that's what happened. In the 1900s, there was a mining boom in Rhyolite, Nevada. This brought people into the more dark, hot, inhospitable desert areas and came within 20 miles of the Greenwater site. So now you had kind of a stopping place within 20 miles that you could go to. So it just opened it up a lot better. These deposits were located around 1904 or rediscovered deposits. It's kind of hard to say, but I'm sure digging went on throughout history, but it's hard to put a big mining company together. But eventually in 1906, the LA Herald reported the rush to Greenwater. The values are high at Greenwater, they said. Excitement over the copper deposits discovered in the district. Hundreds of men have braved the dangers of the desert to get into Inyo County and prospect, a field of 60 miles south of Bullfrog. It stated that within the past 2 weeks, there's realized cash aggregate, a grand total of $4,125,000. The price of everything in the district has shot sky high, and in 20 days, the prices of property in district have gone from 100 to 200 to 10,000 and even higher. Such men as Schwab, Heinz, these are people who own Schwab is Charles Schwab, right? Heinz, the Heinz ketchup, Senator Clark, Malcolm McDonald, McDonald Gilt, Senator Nixon, and Representative Richard Nixon, by the way, we lived in the district right there, spending money for purchases and property. Development work is being rushed as fast as men and supplies can be rushed in. There you can see a tent camp right there. Not an easy way to live out there at that time. A rough life. That's a smoke shop. Those are people trying to profit off of the miners selling tobacco products and such. This is a time when copper was in big demand because of everybody knew electricity was a thing, and they knew that they needed copper wiring. Districts like Butte, Montana were unable to meet the growing need, so copper was in big demand. Of course, this is just prior to World War I as well, which also put a huge demand on copper. Conditions were optimal for the excitement in copper mining. These new discoveries created a frenzy of interest and investment by prominent industrialists and capitalists. The list of prominent capitalists and mining men that rushed into Greenwater, full of famous and infamous historical figures, W.A. Clark, F. Augustus Heinz. Two of the Butte, Montana copper kings. Also on the list was Charles Schwab, a capitalist who lives on today, as we mentioned earlier. You can see the city there and the structures and the tents if you are on the video here on YouTube. But these early promoters wanted this city and thought this city would be filled with thousands of people. In 1907, the Los Angeles Herald gave a very optimistic report and said, "This town is famous. It's too small and bound to grow into a city of large proportions." That was probably not going to happen. The Greenwater, Mr. Wadhams had secured an option for several claims adjoining the town. and was preparing to put 3,400 lots on the market and sell them for 125 bucks a piece. Of course, you can see by the pictures that never happened. The Greenwater Eli Consolidated Copper Company here was selling shares anywhere from $15 for 500 shares to $600 for 20,000 shares. They're touting that this is going to be a big money maker. And the San Francisco Bulletin also noted that the town was full of a dozen saloons, a good indicator that the town was lively and going to grow. But the photos reveal that it didn't really amount to much more than perhaps a tent city with a couple of dozen wooden buildings. In 1907, the town was already in decline. The copper didn't produce the rich values that were expected. But, you know, this could be a great area to go walk around and poke around and see if there's any nice specimens. There it is in its heyday in 1907 before it completely started to become abandoned. So, yeah, in the summer of 1907, the boom town wasn't getting much press. A couple articles in the fall of that year were trying to reassure that things were not as bad as Greenwater people were saying, probably because investors do seem to control the narrative in the media nowadays. It seems like it is the big companies and the politicians that control the media for the largest part. So, yeah, they did sink a few shafts deeper, hoping to hit another ore body, but all hopes were dashed. In 1908, Greenwater had just one saloon and only 50 people there, and it was now becoming a ghost town and on its very last legs. In August 1908, Greenwater's post office closed. Local mining continued over the years, but it wasn't enough to keep the town alive. In 1909, the town was abandoned. Nearby town of Furnace survived for a couple more years as copper continued sporadic development. There is nothing left of Greenwater. The town is now within the site of Death Valley National Park. So, yeah, you're probably not even allowed to pick up any samples at this point without, you know, some ranger jumping out from underneath a rock and arresting you and throwing you into prison for the rest of your life. Who knows? But be careful. Check the rules if you are going to pick up anything in there. All right. Hemimorphite. Hemimorphite is a beautiful mineral. This, from the way I understand it, is a new deposit that's been dug up recently. And it is these bitrudal spears, and I will blow that picture up in just a minute for my people who are here on the video. Thank you. It's the 79 mine. The specimen is a two-tone hemimorphite balls, blue with white caps. Excellent specimens attached to the matrix of the ground between the blue, white tones and on a brown matrix here. One of Arizona's most classic specimens localities, the 79 mine, has a long and colorful history that has produced wonderful mineral specimens from 1879, but the deposit was sporadically operated for lead, zinc, copper until the 20th century, and fine specimens, which the mine has become famous, are very rare. But now some of these specimens are brought out by hardworking collectors who, in the post-mining era, work a network of underground slopes and rooms, have brought the specimens out securely and safely, hand-carried up by ladder after ladder. So these are not going to be, you know, $10, $20. These are going to be, you know, $50, $80, $100 specimens for sure. But they are beautiful. And I'm going to blow one up for you right now. If you are on the video, oops, how do I do this? I did it before. Come on, baby, blow up. Come on. I did it before. Maybe this one. Why will it not blow up? I did this before. You know, sometimes it's so disappointing when you test something out and it works fine and then you can't get it to work. I do not understand this. But I had this thing blown up. All I did was click on it and blew up. Now My computer's making a liar out of me. Well, you're going to have to go to the website yourself. It is McDonald minerals.com, McDougallminerals.com. Look up the hemimorphite, and see if you can figure out how to blow it up. It worked for me before, but now it's not. You can zoom in like this and look at it. It is quite spectacular and amazing. Really love it, and I hope you do too. All right, that's about all I got for you. So I am going to conclude this episode and tell you guys, as I always do, until next time, remember, rockhounds don't die, we petrify. And I am out.